Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into the world of Docker and Splunk. Whether you are in DevOps, development, or security, understanding these tools can really help improve your infrastructure and application monitoring. We'll cover why Docker and Splunk are essential, their benefits, how they enhance security, and go through a full deployment tutorial. Let's jump into it. Why Docker? Docker is the open platform for deploying, shipping, and running application inside lightweight portable containers. But why should we care about Docker? Well, here are some of the main advantages: portability, scalability, isolation, efficiency. So you can package an application within all the dependencies and ship it anywhere. Scalability, easy to scale your application across multiple environments. Isolation, each container is isolated, ensuring no interface between different applications running on the same machine. Efficiency, Docker uses fewer resources than traditional virtual machines. And Splunk, let's come to the Splunk part. Splunk is a powerful platform for searching, monitoring, and analyzing machine-generated data, which is crucial for identifying and resolving issues within your infrastructure. Here are a few advantages of Splunk: real-time log aggregation, advanced analytics, virtualization, alerting. So it can collect logs from multiple sources like Docker containers. Splunk can analyze large volume of data to identify patterns and insights. There's a built-in dashboard for better visibility into your application performance. You can also set up alerts based on special conditions. So security aspect, SAST or a DAST. Why deploying applications, security is a crucial. There are two main types of security testing: SAST, static application security testing; DAST, dynamic application security testing. So what is it about? So SAST focuses on analysis the code itself before the application is deployed, ensuring there are no vulnerabilities in the code base. This is ideal during deployment within the CI/CD pipeline. DAST focus on testing the application in its running state. It it's great for detection vulnerabilities in real time once the application is live. For this project, Docker and Splunk setup, SAST is generally more suitable as we want to catch vulnerabilities earlier on, especially in our container environment. So moving on with the benefits for this infrastructure, using Docker with Splunk together can greatly benefit your infrastructure in the following ways: improvement, application monitoring, proactive issue resolution, streamlined operations. So let me describe this. So Docker container sends logs directly to the Splunk to analyze, allow real-time monitoring. Proactively, the issues can be detected with Splunk alert system. You can be notified when something goes wrong. And also in the operation side, Docker containers are easy to scale and maintain when Splunk handles the log aggregation and analysis seamlessly. So there are a few common issues. Uh, let's see in the Docker and the Splunk. So when we are working in hand. So there is microservice monitoring. When running microservices in Docker, logs for each container can be collected and analyzed by Splunk to monitor the performance and detect issues. Security event logging. Docker container can forward security-related logs to Splunk, allowing organization to monitor and respond to the security threats. On the DevOps pipeline, combining Docker and Splunk within a CI/CD pipeline allows team to continuously monitor, build, and deployment, ensure everything runs smoothly. So let's dive in the deployment phase. So before deployment, there is a prerequisite of installing the Splunk Enterprise. So I'm using the Mac OS, so I'll follow the Mac OS DMG file installation path. So you can go to the Splunk.com, the official website, and get a free trial version. So once you click on it, it will ask you for some of the information which is required, and you can fill in the form, and it will request you to download it. Once the download is completed, you can follow the steps on the screen itself. So let me go to the README document. Okay, and you can follow the steps like choosing which of the operating system, download the installer, install the Splunk Enterprise. Once you double click on the DMG file, it should start to install it on the appropriate location application folder. And once the install is completed, you can initialize the Splunk, open a terminal window, navigate to the Splunk directory, the CD application Splunk bin, start the Splunk for the first time with accepting the license, and then you should be able to set an admin user and the password. Please make sure you save the information for the future purpose of in the web interface. After starting the Splunk, you can open the web interface to the localhost 8000 port, and I will also show you in the next steps how to do that. And there are a few other things to manage the Splunk as a service with some of the commands with start, stop, status to check, and restart if you have any common issues when you're running Splunk. Let's move to the app.py. There are some libraries which needs to be imported, Flask logging, Splunk handler, and also setting up the Splunk logging. This is the main important part. You need to collect this information after logging into the Splunk enterprise. You'll be able to see the source type, index, token, port, and the host. I will also show you where exactly to look into this information. So I see like the Splunk enterprise is already running on the port 8000 for me. So let me copy this and open the terminal, the browser, and yes. So if you see here under the settings, let me maximize this so you are able to see this. Okay. So under settings, under the data inputs, and you'll be able to see some of the information under the HTTP event collector. So you can add a new event collector. And follow the steps for name, source, name override, description, and output. Once you fill in all the information, click on the next and input the information which is shown on the screen here, which is like this information, source type, verify, index, token. Keep it everything default as it is and hit the next. So and the information will be something like this, and you should be able to see that the select allowed index is main, as we have inputted the information in our app.py as well. Let's move on to the next section, which is like Splunk handler, setting up the logs to the debug level, defining the function and defining the route, and moving forward with also the port and debug is set to 2. And the main important part is the Docker file. So I've set the Docker file with the security best practices using the Python image as a base image, setting up the environment variable for the improvement of and also performance and logging, uh, and installing some of the dependencies using no cache to minimize the image size. Also creating a non-root user for security best practices, installing the Python dependencies for a few of the things to test it, and also patching the Splunk handler to be compatible with the Python 3, and switching up back to the non-root user, exposing the port for the Flask app, and also metadata for the Docker image. And also setting up the service in the Docker Compose file with some of the environment variables, which I have already keyed in with exporting in my Mac OS computer, and with the network to the external true. There are a few requirements for this project with Flask and Splunk handler. So let's start the Docker container, building the Docker container. I'm using the Docker Compose up -- build command. So let's see in the Docker container, I see it's created. I'm able to see it's running. Let me quickly click on the local host. I think it's open. Let me close this. Yeah. And let me run this, enter the number. 1 is not the prime number. 2 is the prime number. So let's check quickly the logs. So search and reporting. And we will be utilizing the information from here, from the app.py, to search. So the source type is this one. So I'll be copying this and I'll be utilizing this. Instead of 24, I'll just use 5 minutes. Okay, so I think, oops. Okay, oops. I should be able to see some logs coming through. It says like 0 of 2 events matched. Oh, there you go. It took a minute time to come back. So I was able to see the warning log process of number of 2 and 1 was completed and able to see some of the information like host source type time matches with the current time. So I was talking about some of the security events here using the Docker to run applications securely while forwarding the security logs to the Splunk for auditing and incident response. Integrating the Docker and the Splunk within the CI/CD pipeline, it would catch errors very early. Let's do a quick recap on this, and I will be able to follow up. We were able to ship the logs from the application container to the Splunk, and we were able to visualize that and confirm it. So I believe like this is what we were expecting from the Flask application to the Splunk and covering some of the advantages of using Docker and Splunk, discussing some of the security aspect and walk through the deployment steps. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe your channel for the DevOps tutorials and tech insights. Also, drop your questions and suggestions for future videos in the comments below. We love to hear from you. Thank you.